The cruise ship Celestial Harmony floated dead in space like a broken jewel. Its beautiful curves caught no light from the distant stars. Inside the ship, Captain Veltar pressed his 6 thin arms against the control panel. His skin was clear, like glass, and blue veins pulsed under it. He was scared. Behind him, 200 passengers waited in their special pods. They were all from the Veil Nebula colonies. Their bodies were made of living crystal that rang like bells when they moved. Now they made no sound at all. Many were already sleeping the deep sleep that came before death. The ship's air was running out. The power cells were almost empty. The engines were broken beyond repair. Captain Veltar had sent his crew to fix what they could, but it was no use. They were all going to die out here in the cold dark between the stars. Veltar's first officer, a young female named Kessa, came to stand beside him. Her crystal body was cracked from stress. Tiny lines ran through her arms like spider webs. "Captain," she whispered, "the oxygen will last maybe 6 more hours. After that..." She did not need to finish. They both knew what came after that. Veltar looked at the emergency beacon panel. The red button glowed softly, waiting. If he pressed it, the beacon would send their location to any ship close enough to hear. But who would come? The nearest. Veil Nebula patrol ship was weeks away. The mining colonies had no rescue ships. And the other option... Veltar shivered. The other option was too terrible to think about. "Captain," Kessa said again, "there might be someone closer." "You know who might be closer," Veltar replied. His voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "The Deathworld ships, the human traders." Both aliens fell silent. Everyone in the galaxy knew about humans. They came from a world of poison air and crushing gravity. A world where everything tried to kill everything else. The humans were survivors, but they were also killers. Their ships were covered in weapons. Their bodies were made of meat and bone, but they were stronger than most machines. They fought wars for fun. They ate other living things while they were still moving. The worst stories said that humans would answer distress calls just to find new victims. They would board disabled ships and take what they wanted. Sometimes they took cargo. Sometimes they took people. Always, they left nothing but empty hulks floating in space. But sometimes, just sometimes, other stories were told. Stories of human ships that actually helped. Stories of rescues that worked. Stories of humans who asked for nothing in return. But those stories were probably lies. Everyone knew that. Veltar touched the beacon button with one shaking finger. He did not press it yet. "Sir," came another voice. It was Mordun, the ship's engineer. He crawled into the control room, his crystal body dim and flickering. "The main reactor is completely dead. Emergency power will last maybe 4 hours now, not 6. 4 hours. Veltar closed his eyes, which were like looking through windows. Made of diamond. 4 hours until they all died. Unless... "Are you sure about the reactor?" Veltar asked. "Dead and cold," Mordun replied. "Even if we had parts, we do not have tools. Even if we had tools, we do not have time." Veltar nodded slowly. There was no choice now. He would have to press the button. He would have to call for help and hope that whoever came would be merciful. Maybe they would die quickly. Maybe the humans would make it fast. "I am sorry," he whispered to his crew and his passengers. Then he pressed the button. The beacon activated with a soft chime. It began sending their position, their ship type, their passenger count, and their emergency status. The message went out on all frequencies, traveling at light speed toward any ship that might be listening. Far away, in a different part of space, Captain Lee Tae-ho was drinking coffee in his ship's small kitchen. The coffee was terrible, but it was hot, and it had caffeine. That was enough. His cargo ship Iron Phoenix was 3 days out from the mining station at Kepler 442. They were carrying medical supplies, food, and machine parts. It was boring work, but it paid the bills. Lee Tae-ho was a big man with broad shoulders and hands that were covered in old scars. His face was kind, but tired. He had been flying cargo ships for 15 years, and it showed. His black hair was starting to turn gray at the edges, and lines appeared around his eyes when he smiled. The ship's engineer, Park Ji-woo, sat across from him at the small table. Park was younger and thinner, but his hands were just as scarred. From working with machines, he was trying to fix a broken tablet computer while he ate. "This thing is completely fried," Park said, shaking the tablet. "I think the power surge last week killed it." "Can you fix it?" Lee Tae-ho asked. "Maybe. I need to order some parts at the next station." Their pilot, Kim So-jin, came into the kitchen. She was small and quick, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She poured herself coffee and made a face when she tasted it. "This coffee is terrible," she said. "It keeps us awake," Lee Tae-ho replied. Kim So-jin was about to answer when the ship's alarm started beeping. It was not the loud, scary alarm that meant danger. It was the soft, steady beep that meant a message was coming in. "Probably just a schedule update from the mining station," Kim So-jin said. She walked to the communication panel and pressed a button. "Let me check." The message that came through was not a schedule update. It was a distress call. Kim So-jin read it quickly, then read it again more slowly. Her face went pale. "Captain," she said, "you need to see this." Lee Tae-ho came over to look at the screen. The message was simple but desperate. "Ship disabled. 200 passengers. Life support failing. Coordinates attached. Please help. Where are they?" Lee Tae-ho asked. Kim So-jin checked the coordinates. "About 6 hours away if we push the engines hard. But Captain," she pointed to another part of the message, "look at the ship type." Lee Tae-ho looked. The ship was registered as a Veil Nebula, passenger vessel, the aliens from the Crystal Colonies. He had never met any of them, but he had heard they were peaceful people who rarely left their home systems. "They are a long way from home," Park Ji-woo said, looking over their shoulders. "And they are dying," Lee Tae-ho said quietly. Kim So-jin frowned. "Captain, the route to reach them goes through the Broken Ring asteroid field. In 6 hours we'll be trying to navigate that mess in almost total darkness. One mistake and we will join them. And," Park Ji-woo added, "we do not have much extra fuel. If we burn it all getting there, we might not have enough to get back to a station." Lee Tae-ho studied the message for a long moment. 200 lives. Men, women, children. All of them counting down their last hours in the cold and dark. All of them hoping that someone somewhere would hear their call and come to help. He thought about his warm bed at home. He thought about his bank account, which was not very full. He thought about the asteroid field and all the ways they could die trying to reach the alien ship. Then he thought about 200 people who were going to die if nobody came. "Set course for the coordinates," he said. "Maximum speed." "Captain," Kim So-jin started. "Maximum speed," Lee Tae-ho repeated. "And send a message back to them. Tell them help is coming." Park Ji-woo smiled. Kim So-jin shook her head but started. Entering the new course. The Iron Phoenix changed direction and began accelerating toward the coordinates. Behind them, coffee cups slid across the table and fell to the floor. None of them noticed. They were too busy preparing to save lives. 6 hours away, Captain Veltar received their response message. When he read it, he began to shake so hard that his crystal body rang like a bell. The Deathworlders were coming. The Iron Phoenix moved through space like an angry shark. Its engines burned bright blue in the darkness, pushing the ship faster than it was supposed to go. Inside the ship, Captain Lee Tae-ho sat in the pilot's seat next to Kim So-jin. His hands gripped the armrests as asteroids flew past their windows like deadly snowflakes. "Asteroid field in 30 minutes, Kim So-jin said. Her voice was calm, but sweat ran down her face. "I have never flown through the Broken Ring before." "Neither have I," Lee Tae-ho admitted. "But people do it all the time." "Smart people do it slowly," Park Ji-woo said from behind them. He was checking the ship's systems on his tablet. "Smart people do it with full sensor arrays and backup navigation. We are doing it fast with half our sensors broken." Lee Tae-ho turned to look at his engineer. "Can you fix the sensors?" "Maybe 1 or 2 of them. The main array is completely dead. Has been for months." Park Ji-woo shrugged. "We never had money to replace it." "Do what you can," Lee Tae-ho said. Kim So-jin pointed at her screen. "Captain, look at this. I am getting more readings from the distress signal." The alien ship appeared on their long-range scanner as a tiny dot. But as they got closer, the dot began to take shape. What they saw made all 3 humans stare in wonder. The Celestial Harmony was the most beautiful ship any of them had ever seen. It was not built like human ships, with straight lines and sharp angles. Instead, it curved and flowed like it had grown instead of being built. The hull was smooth and white, with patterns of blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Even damaged and powerless, it looked like something from a dream. "It looks like a work of art," Kim So-jin whispered. "It looks expensive," Park Ji-woo said. "It looks fragile," Lee Tae-ho added. And he was right. Where human ships were made of thick steel and ceramic armor, this alien vessel seemed to be made of something that looked like porcelain or glass. Beautiful, but delicate. On the alien ship, Captain Veltar watched the approaching human vessel through his ship's failing sensors. What he saw made his crystal body turn dark with fear. The Iron Phoenix looked like a weapon that could fly. Its hull was dark gray metal, scarred and dented from years of hard use. Weapon ports lined its sides like the eyes of a predator. Its engines glowed red instead of blue, and they left a trail of fire behind the ship. "They look like pirates," whispered Kesara. "They look like killers," added Mordun. Captain Veltar said nothing. He was too frightened to speak. The human ship was getting bigger on his screen, and he could see more details now. The hull was covered in burn marks and impact scars. Some sections had been welded back together after being torn open. This was a ship that had been in many fights and survived them all. Inside his passenger compartments, the crystal people huddled, together in their pods. Many of them were already unconscious from lack of oxygen. Others whispered prayers to their ancient gods. A few of the youngsters cried with sounds like breaking glass. "Attention, alien vessel," came a voice over the radio. It was deep and rough, speaking in basic galactic trade language. "This is Captain Lee Tae-ho of the cargo ship Iron Phoenix. We received your distress call. Please respond." Veltar's hands shook as he reached for the communication controls. "This is Captain Veltar of the Celestial Harmony. We are in desperate need of assistance." "We can see that," Lee Tae-ho replied. His voice sounded calm and professional. "What is your situation?" "Main reactor is dead. Life support is failing. We have maybe 2 hours of air left for 200 passengers." There was a pause. Then the human voice came back. "Understood. We are approaching your position now. Stand by for rescue operations." Rescue operations. The words made Veltar even more afraid. What did humans consider rescue operations? Would they take the passengers as slaves? Would they strip the ship for valuable parts? Would they simply shoot everyone to put them out of their misery? On the Iron Phoenix, Lee Tae-ho was studying the alien ship through their telescope. Kim So-jin flew them in a slow circle around the disabled vessel, looking for the best way to help. "I do not see any docking ports," Kim So-jin said. "At least, nothing that looks like our docking ports." "The whole ship is smooth," Park Ji-woo observed. "How do they even get in and out of that thing?" Lee Tae-ho pointed to a section near the front of the alien ship. "There. See those lines in the hull? I think those might be doors." Kim So-jin looked where he was pointing. "Maybe, but even if those are doors, we cannot dock with them. Our ship is too big, and their hull looks too weak to handle our docking clamps." "So how do we get them out?" Park Ji-woo asked. Lee Tae-ho thought for a moment. Then he smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who was about to do something dangerous. "We cut our way in." Both of his crew members stared at him. "Cut our way in?" Kim So-jin repeated. "Captain, that ship looks like it is made of crystal. If we use plasma cutters on it, we might shatter the whole thing." "Not plasma cutters," Lee Tae-ho said. "Emergency breach tools, small charges, very controlled. We cut a hole just big enough for our rescue pods." Park Ji-woo nodded slowly. "It could work, but we would need to be very careful. One mistake and we kill everyone we are trying to save." "Then we will not make mistakes," Lee Tae-ho said simply. He opened the communication channel again. "Captain Veltar, we are going to attempt an emergency docking. We need to cut a small hole in your hull to get your people out. Do you understand?" On the alien ship, Veltar nearly fainted when he heard those words. Cut a hole in their hull. The humans were going to attack his ship with weapons. They were going to tear it apart. "Please," he whispered into the radio, "please do not hurt my passengers. Take what you want, but please do not hurt the youngsters." Lee Tae-ho frowned. The alien captain sounded terrified. "Captain Veltar, we are here to help you. We are not going to hurt anyone. We just need to make a doorway so we can get your people to safety." But Veltar did not believe him. How could he? Everyone knew what humans were like. Everyone knew what Deathworlders did to helpless ships. Kim So-jin maneuvered the Iron Phoenix close to the alien vessel. The two ships were now only a few meters apart. Through the transparent sections of the alien hull, they could see the crystal people inside. Many of them were pressed against the windows, staring at the human ship with wide, terrified eyes. "They look scared," Kim So-jin observed. "They should be scared," Park Ji-woo said. "Their ship is dying and they are trapped." "No," Lee Tae-ho said quietly. "They are scared of us." He could see it in the way the aliens moved. They were not just afraid of dying. They were afraid of being rescued. They huddled away from the windows whenever the Iron Phoenix came close. Parents held their youngsters protectively. Some of them seemed to be praying. "They think we are pirates," Lee Tae-ho realized. "Well," Park Ji-woo said, looking around their weapon-scarred ship, "we probably do look like pirates." Lee Tae-ho opened the communication channel one more time. "Captain Veltar, I know you are afraid, but I give you my word as a ship captain. We are here to save your people, not hurt them. Please, trust us." Trust. The word echoed in Veltar's mind. Trust the Deathworlders. Trust the species that the galaxy feared above all others. Trust the humans who had weapons that could destroy planets. But what choice did he have? His people were dying. The air was almost gone. In less than 2 hours, everyone on his ship would be dead. I understand," Veltar said finally. "Please be careful." Lee Tae-ho smiled, and this time, it was a real smile. "We will be very careful. Park Ji-woo, get the emergency breach tools ready. Kim So-jin, hold us steady. And everyone—" He looked at his crew with serious eyes. "Everyone remember that we have 200 lives depending on us getting this right." The Iron Phoenix moved closer to the alien ship. In the darkness of space, two very different vessels came together. One was beautiful and dying. The other was ugly and strong. Soon, they would find out if trust could bridge the gap between species that had never met before. Park Ji-woo floated outside the Iron Phoenix in his spacesuit. His helmet light cut through the darkness as he examined the alien ship's hull up close. The celestial harmony was even more beautiful than it had looked from inside their ship. The hull seemed to glow with its own soft light, and he could see delicate patterns carved into the surface. "It really does look like crystal," he said into his radio, "but it feels stronger than it looks." Inside the Iron Phoenix, Lee Tae-ho watched through the airlock window. "Can you cut through it without breaking the whole section?" "I think so. The emergency breach charges are very small, but I need to be exact. 1 centimeter too deep and I might hit something important inside." Kim So-jin kept the ship perfectly steady while Park Ji-woo worked. It was not easy. Both ships were moving through space, and even tiny movements could be dangerous when someone was working outside in a spacesuit. Through the alien ship's transparent sections, Park Ji-woo could see crystal people watching him. They pressed themselves against the far walls, as if his presence outside their ship was somehow dangerous. Many of them held their youngsters close. "They really are afraid of us," Park Ji-woo said quietly. "Just focus on the job," Lee Tae-ho replied. "We can worry about their feelings after we save their lives." Park Ji-woo placed the first breach charge carefully on the hull. It was no bigger than his thumb, but it contained enough explosive to cut through most materials. The key was using just enough to make a hole, but not so much that it would damage the ship's structure. Inside the celestial harmony, Captain Veltar watched the human work. The Deathworlder moved with surprising care, checking and double-checking every placement. His tools looked brutal and dangerous, but he used them like a surgeon used a scalpel. "He is being very careful," Kesara observed. "Perhaps," Veltar replied, but he was still scared. What if this was just how humans played with their food before eating it? Morden crawled over to them. The old engineer's crystal body was very dim now, barely glowing at all. "Captain, the air is getting very bad. Some of the passengers in Section 3 have stopped breathing." Veltar's crystal heart sank. They were running out of time. Even if the humans were trying to help, they might be too late. Park Ji-woo finished placing the charges and floated back to a safe distance. Charges set. Everyone clear the area. Alien ship. Please move your people away from the section we are cutting, Lee Tae-ho said over the radio. Veltar gave the order. The crystal people who could still move helped carry those who could not. They gathered in the far end of the ship and waited, firing charges in 3, 2, 1. The explosion was surprisingly quiet in the vacuum of space. There was a brief flash of light, and then a round hole appeared in the alien ship's hull. Emergency force fields snapped into place on both ships, keeping the air from rushing out. Park Ji-woo floated over to examine his work. The hole was perfect, just big enough for people to pass through, with smooth edges that would not cut anyone. Good job, Lee Tae-ho said. Now let us get our rescue pod ready. The rescue pod was a small craft that could carry about 20 people. It was not comfortable, but it would keep them alive during the short trip between ships. Park Ji-woo piloted it through the hole in the alien ship, while Lee Tae-ho and Kim So-jin waited inside. The inside of the Celestial Harmony was as beautiful as the outside. The walls curved gracefully, and soft light came from panels in the ceiling. Everything was made of the same crystal-like material as the alien people themselves. It was like being inside a living jewel. But the beauty was fading. The lights were dim and flickering. The air was thin and cold. In the distance, Lee Tae-ho could hear the sound of crystal people struggling to breathe. Captain Veltar approached them slowly. His 6 arms shook with fear, but he stood as tall as he could. "Welcome to our ship," he said in broken trade language. Lee Tae-ho removed his helmet and breathed the alien air. It was stale and thin, but breathable. "Thank you, Captain. We need to move your people quickly. The ones who are most sick should go first." Veltar stared at the human captain. Lee Tae-ho was bigger than any crystal person, with broad shoulders and thick arms. His face was scarred from years of hard work. He should have been terrifying. But his eyes were kind. And when he spoke, his voice was gentle. "This way," Veltar said, leading them deeper into the ship. The passenger areas were crowded with crystal people in various stages of distress. Some sat quietly, trying to conserve their strength. Others lay unconscious in their pods. A few youngsters cried with sounds like wind chimes breaking. Kim So-jin knelt beside an unconscious alien child. The youngster was small and delicate, with crystal skin that barely glowed at all. "This one is very sick," she said. "We take the sick ones first," Lee Tae-ho agreed. He carefully picked up the alien child, surprised by how light it was. The crystal body was warm to the touch, and he could feel a faint pulse through the translucent skin. The other crystal people watched in amazement. They had expected the human to grab the child roughly, maybe even hurt it. Instead, Lee Tae-ho held the youngster like it was made of the most precious glass. "It will be okay," Lee Tae-ho whispered to the unconscious child. "We are going to take you somewhere safe." Park Ji-woo and Kim So-jin helped load the most critical passengers into the rescue pod. They worked quickly but carefully, making sure not to bump or jostle the delicate aliens. Each trip took about 10 minutes. 5 minutes to load passengers, 5 minutes to transfer them to the Iron Phoenix, and then back for more. On the third trip, one of the alien passengers spoke to Kim So-jin in trade language. "Why are you helping us?" the alien asked. It was an older crystal person with deep cracks running through its arms. Kim So-jin looked up from adjusting the passenger's safety harness. "Because you need help. But we are strangers. We have nothing to give you in return." Kim So-jin smiled. "You do not need to give us anything. Helping people is just what you do." The alien stared at her for a long moment. "Your species is not what the stories say." "What do the stories say?" Kim So-jin asked. "That humans are violent, that you kill for pleasure, that you take what you want and leave nothing behind." Kim So-jin finished securing the harness and sat back. "Some humans are like that," she admitted. "But most of us are not. Most of us just want to help." Meanwhile, Lee Tae-ho was working with the alien medical officer, a crystal person named Zay Lara. She was teaching him how to operate their life support equipment. "Your people's biology is very different from ours," Zay Lara said. "I was not sure our medicine would work on you." We brought our own air, Lee Tae-ho replied. And our medical bay is equipped for many different species. We trade with a lot of different people. Even people like us? Lee Tae-ho looked at her with surprise. Why would your species be different from any other? Zaylara gestured to her crystal body. We are fragile. We break easily. We are not warriors like humans. So, Lee Tae-ho said, being fragile does not make you less worthy of help. As the rescue continued, more and more crystal people began to understand that these humans were different from the stories. Park Ji-woo shared his emergency rations with hungry aliens. Kim So-jin told jokes to frightened youngsters, making them laugh despite their fear. Lee Tae-ho personally carried every unconscious passenger to safety. By the 8th trip, some of the stronger crystal people were helping with the rescue. They showed the humans where to find hidden passengers and helped translate for those who could not speak trade language. Captain Veltar watched it all with growing amazement. These were supposed to be the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. These were the Deathworlders that civilized species feared above all others, but they worked with endless patience. When an alien child was too scared to leave its parent, Lee Tae-ho simply carried them both together. When an elderly crystal person was too weak to walk, Kim So-jin built a stretcher from emergency supplies. When their rescue pod broke down during the 15th trip, Park Ji-woo fixed it with spare parts from his own toolkit. I do not understand, Veltar said to Lee Tae-ho during a brief rest. Why do you work so hard for strangers? Lee Tae-ho wiped sweat from his face. They had been working for hours, and all 3 humans were exhausted. Because it is the right thing to do, he said simply. But the cost, the fuel, the time, the danger. You risk your own lives for people you have never met. Lee Tae-ho looked around at the crystal people who were now safely aboard his ship. Families, reunited, children playing in the corridors, adults helping his crew with small tasks. Captain Veltar, he said, what is the point of having a ship if you do not use it to help people? Veltar had no answer for that. In all his years of space, travel, he had never heard a ship captain talk that way. Most captains thought about profit first, safety second, and other people last, but these humans thought about other people first. As the rescue neared completion, Veltar realized something that would change his understanding of the galaxy forever. The most dangerous species in known space was also the most compassionate, and that made them more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The rescue took 18 hours. By the time they moved the last crystal person to safety, all 3 humans looked ready to collapse. Lee Tae-ho's hands shook from exhaustion. Kim So-jin had dark circles under her eyes. Park Ji-woo had been awake for more than 24 hours straight, and he stumbled when he walked. But they had done it. All 200 passengers were now aboard the Iron Phoenix. Every single one was alive. The human ship was crowded beyond belief. Crystal people filled every corridor, every storage room, every empty space they could find. The cargo holds had been converted into temporary living areas. The ship's small medical bay was packed with the most seriously injured. Dr. Han Myung-soo, the ship's medical officer who had been sleeping when the rescue began, worked without stopping to help the alien patients. He had never treated crystal people before, but he learned quickly. Their bodies were different from humans, but the basics were the same. They needed air, water, and warmth to survive. Their internal structure is fascinating, Dr. Han said to Lee Tae-ho as they worked together in the medical bay. They are not actually made of crystal. It just looks that way. Their bones and organs are made of a silicon-based compound that grows in crystalline patterns. Lee Tae-ho nodded, but he was too tired to really understand the science. He just wanted to make sure everyone was okay. Captain Veltar sat in the corner of the medical bay, watching the humans work. His own body was cracked and dim from the stress of the emergency, but he was alive. More importantly, all of his passengers were alive. He watched Lee Tae-ho check on each alien patient personally. The human captain moved from bed to bed, making sure everyone had enough blankets, enough water, enough air. He could not speak the crystal people's language, but he tried to comfort them anyway with gentle touches and kind smiles. Captain, Veltar said finally, You have saved us all. Lee Tae-ho looked up from where he was adjusting an alien child's pillow. We just did what anyone would do. No, Veltar said firmly. Anyone would not do this. Most ships would have left us to die. Some might have tried to help, but would have given up when it became difficult. You never gave up. Lee Tae-ho sat down heavily in a chair. He was so tired that his vision was blurry. There were 200 lives at stake. How could we give up? Veltar studied the human captain's face. Lee Tae-ho looked completely exhausted, but there was something else there too. Satisfaction. Pride. Not the proud feeling that came from defeating an enemy, but the quiet pride that came from doing something right. Tell me about your people, Veltar said. Tell me why you are so different from the stories. Lee Tae-ho rubbed his tired eyes. What stories? The stories say that humans are violent, that you enjoy fighting, that you take what you want and destroy what you cannot take. Some humans are like that, Lee Tae-ho admitted, just like some members of every species are like that, but most of us are not. Then why does the galaxy fear you? Lee Tae-ho thought about that question for a long time. Around them, crystal people rested in makeshift beds. His crew members worked quietly to make everyone as comfortable as possible. The ship's engines hummed steadily as they traveled toward the nearest space station. I think, Lee Tae-ho said finally, the galaxy fears us because we survive things that would kill other people. We come from a world where everything is dangerous. The air is poison to most species. The gravity would crush most aliens. The weather can kill you. The animals can kill you. Even the plants can kill you. So you became killers to survive? No. Lee Tae-ho shook his head. We became helpers to survive. On a world where everything wants to kill you, the only way to live is to work together. We take care of each other. We help each other. We never leave anyone behind if we can help it. Veltar was quiet for a moment. But your weapons, your warships, the stories of human soldiers. We fight when we have to, Lee Tae-ho said. But we prefer to help. Fighting is just something we can do. Helping is something we choose to do. In the corridor outside the medical bay, Kim So-jin was teaching a group of alien youngsters how to play a human card game. The crystal children could not hold the cards very well with their delicate fingers, so she had modified the rules. Their laughter sounded like tiny silver bells ringing. Park Ji-woo was in the engine room with several alien adults who wanted to learn about human technology. He explained how their engines worked, how their life support systems functioned, how their gravity generators kept everyone's feet on the floor. Your ship is very strong, observed Morden, the alien engineer, but also very complex. It has to be strong, Park Ji-woo replied. Human space is dangerous. Asteroid fields, solar storms, gravity wells that can crush a ship. Our vessels need to survive things that would destroy most alien ships. And yet you use this strong ship to save people, not to conquer them. Park Ji-woo looked surprised. Why would we want to conquer anyone? Conquest is expensive and dangerous and makes everyone unhappy. It is much easier to just trade with people and help them when they need it. Morden thought about this. Everything he had been taught about humans was wrong. They were not conquerors or killers. They were merchants and rescuers. Their weapons existed to protect, not to attack. Their strength was used to help, not to harm. 3 days later, they arrived at Kepler Station. It was a large space station that served as a trading post for dozens of different species. When the station controllers saw the Iron Phoenix approaching, with 200 alien refugees, they were amazed. Captain Lee, came the voice of Station Commander Walsh over the radio. We heard about your rescue mission. The whole sector is talking about it. We just did our job, Lee Tae-ho replied. Your job is hauling cargo, not rescuing passenger ships. But we have medical teams standing by and temporary housing prepared for your passengers. The Crystal people were transferred to the station's medical facilities and guest quarters. They would stay there until arrangements could be made to return them to their home colonies. The Vale Nebula government had already sent ships to collect them. Captain Veltar was the last to leave the Iron Phoenix. He stood in the airlock with Lee Tae-ho, trying to find the right words to say goodbye. How can I thank you? Veltar asked. What can my people give you in return for our lives? Lee Tae-ho smiled. You do not owe us anything, Captain. Just when someone else needs help. Remember what happened here. Remember that sometimes the people who look most dangerous are actually the safest to trust. Veltar extended one of his 6 arms. Lee Tae-ho shook it carefully, mindful of the aliens. Delicate crystal bones. I will remember, Veltar promised. And I will make sure my people remember too. As the crystal captain walked away, Lee Tae-ho felt someone tap his shoulder. It was Kim So-jin, holding a small crystal flower. It had been made by one of the alien children as a thank you gift. The youngster said it will glow for 100 years, Kim So-jin said. She wanted you to have it so you would always remember them. Lee Tae-ho took the crystal flower carefully. It was warm to the touch and pulsed with soft blue light. It is beautiful. She said something else too, Kim So-jin added. She said that when she grows up, she wants to be a ship captain just like you, someone who helps people. Lee Tae-ho smiled and put the crystal flower in his pocket. Around them, the Iron Phoenix felt strangely empty without its passengers, but it also felt somehow fuller than before. They had saved 200 lives. They had made the galaxy a little bit safer, a little bit kinder. Park Ji-woo joined them in the airlock. So, he said, where to next, Captain? Lee Tae-ho looked out at the stars through the station's windows. Somewhere out there, other ships were traveling through the darkness. Other people needed help. Other emergencies were waiting to happen. Back to work, he said. We have cargo to deliver. But as they prepared to leave the station, all 3 humans knew that something had changed. Word of their rescue was already spreading through the galactic communication networks. Other species were talking about the humans who risked everything to save strangers. The galaxy was beginning to learn the truth about Deathworlders. They were dangerous, yes, but they were most dangerous when they were trying to save someone, and that made them the most dangerous friends anyone could have. 3 months after the rescue, Captain Lee Tae-ho was drinking terrible coffee in his ship's kitchen when Kim So-jin burst through the door with a news tablet in her hands. Captain, you need to see this, she said, almost bouncing with excitement. Lee Tae-ho looked up from his coffee. What now? The news. They are calling it the Harmony Incident. Look. She showed him the tablet screen. The headline read, Human Rescue Changes Galactic Opinion. Below it was a picture of the Iron Phoenix docked with the alien cruise ship. The article talked about how the rescue had shocked the entire galaxy. Species that had never spoken to humans before were now asking for trade agreements. The Vale Nebula colonies had established their first embassy on a human world. It gets better, Kim So-jin said, scrolling down. Look at this part. Lee Tae-ho read aloud. The rescue has led to the creation of new emergency protocols across the galaxy. The human standard for rescue operations now requires all ships to go beyond normal safety limits when lives are at stake. Park Ji-woo walked into the kitchen, wiping grease from his hands. Are we famous now? He asked. Apparently, Lee Tae-ho said. He did not sound happy about it. Captain received 17 marriage proposals yesterday, Kim So-jin said with a grin. 3 from Andromedans, 5 from Centauri traders, and 9 from species I cannot even pronounce. I threw them all away, Lee Tae-ho said firmly. Even the one from the Altarian princess? She offered you a moon. Especially that one. The truth was, Lee Tae-ho was uncomfortable with all the attention. Every port they visited now, people wanted to meet the famous rescue captain. Reporters asked him questions about human philosophy and why his species was so willing to help strangers. Government officials offered him medals and honors. He just wanted to go back to hauling cargo in peace. But the galaxy had other plans. The communication panel beeped, and Kim So-jin answered it. Cargo ship Iron Phoenix. This is emergency dispatch. Station 7, came the reply. We have a priority rescue request. Are you available? Lee Tae-ho sighed. What is it this time? Mining accident on Asteroid Belt Station 12. 37 trapped miners, multiple species. Local rescue ships cannot reach them due to radiation from the damaged reactor. How much radiation? Park Ji-woo asked. Enough to kill most species. In 12 hours. Humans might survive 18 hours with proper shielding. Lee Tae-ho looked at his crew. Kim So-jin nodded immediately. Park Ji-woo shrugged and said, The engines are running fine. We accept. Lee Tae-ho told the dispatcher. "Send us the coordinates." As they changed course toward the mining station, Kim So-jin plotted their route. "Captain, this is the 5th emergency call this month. Word is really getting around about us. People know that if humans say they will come, Park Ji-woo added, no matter how dangerous it is. That was true. In the 3 months since the Harmony rescue, the Iron Phoenix had answered dozens of distress calls. They had saved a Thraxian cargo ship from solar flares. They had rescued the crew of a research vessel trapped in a gravity well. They had even helped evacuate a space station during a reactor meltdown. Each rescue made the news. Each story spread across the galaxy. And each time, more people began to understand what humans were really like. But not everyone was happy about humanity's growing reputation. 2 days later, as they approached the mining station, their long-range sensors detected something troubling. 3 pirate ships were also heading toward the disabled station. "Looks like the Crimson Fleet," Kim So-jin said, studying the sensor readings. "They probably want to loot the station before rescue arrives." The Crimson Fleet was one of the most dangerous pirate groups in the sector. They specialized in attacking disabled ships and stealing whatever they could find. They had been operating in this area for years, and no one had been able to stop them, until now. "Options?" Lee Tae-ho asked. "We could call for military backup," Kim So-jin suggested, "but it would take 6 hours for patrol ships to get here." "The miners do not have 6 hours," Park Ji-woo observed. Lee Tae-ho studied the tactical display. 3 pirate ships against 1 cargo vessel. The Iron Phoenix had weapons, but it was not a warship. The pirates were faster, better armed, and more experienced at fighting. But the pirates had made one critical mistake. They were threatening people that humans had promised to save. "Battle stations," Lee Tae-ho said quietly. "Captain," Kim So-jin said, "are you sure about this? We are not soldiers?" "No," Lee Tae-ho agreed. "But we are rescuers. And no one stops a rescue." The Iron Phoenix accelerated toward the mining station. The pirate ships detected them and changed course to intercept. Soon, the 4 ships were racing toward each other across the emptiness of space. The lead pirate ship opened communications. "Cargo vessel, you are entering a restricted area. Turn back or be destroyed." Lee Tae-ho opened the channel. "Pirate vessels, this is Captain Lee Tae-ho of the Iron Phoenix. We are conducting emergency rescue operations. Stand down and withdraw." There was laughter from the pirate ship. "You are 1 cargo hauler against 3 warships, human. Leave now and we might let you live." "Negative," Lee Tae-ho replied. "We have people to save." The first pirate ship fired a warning shot across their bow. "Last chance, cargo boy." Lee Tae-ho looked at his crew. Kim So-jin had her hands on the weapon controls. Park Ji-woo was rerouting power to their shields. Both of them looked scared but determined. "Remember," Lee Tae-ho said, "we are not here to fight a war. We are here to save miners. Everything else is just obstacles to remove." The battle was brief but decisive. The pirates expected the cargo ship to run away or surrender. They did not expect it to fight like a cornered animal. The Iron Phoenix might not have been a warship, but it was built by humans. It was tough, fast, and equipped with weapons designed to clear asteroid fields. When the pirates tried to surround them, Kim So-jin flew the ship through maneuvers that should have been impossible for a cargo vessel. When they tried to disable the engines, Park Ji-woo rerouted power so quickly that their shots missed completely. When they tried to board the ship, Lee Tae-ho activated every defensive system they had. The first pirate ship was disabled when Kim So-jin used their mining lasers to cut through its engines. The second ship retreated when Park Ji-woo overloaded their reactor and turned their cargo bay into a giant bomb. The third ship surrendered when Lee Tae-ho offered them a choice: leave immediately or be reported to every law enforcement agency in the sector. 20 minutes after the battle began, the Iron Phoenix was alone with the mining station. "Well," Park Ji-woo said, checking their systems, "that was exciting." "Everyone okay?" Lee Tae-ho asked. "Hull damage on deck 3, but nothing serious," Kim So-jin reported. "We can fix it later." "Good. Now let us go save some miners." The rescue of the 37 miners took 8 hours. The radiation was worse than expected, and they had to work in shifts to avoid exposure. But in the end, everyone made it out alive. As they transported the grateful miners to safety, Lee Tae-ho received a message that made him smile. It was from Captain Veltar of the Celestial Harmony. "My friend," the message said, "I have heard about your battle with the pirates. The galaxy is learning that humans do not just help people. They protect them too. You are becoming legends." Lee Tae-ho deleted the message and went back to his coffee. He did not want to be a legend. He just wanted to help people. But across the galaxy, the story spread. The cargo ship that fought 3 pirate vessels to save trapped miners. The humans who would not let anyone stop them from conducting a rescue. The species that was most dangerous when they were trying to save someone. In the Vale Nebula colonies, crystal children played games where they pretended to be human rescue captains. In the mining worlds, workers told stories about the humans, who came when no one else would. In the space stations and trading posts, people began to understand a simple truth. If you sent a distress call and humans heard it, they would come. It did not matter how dangerous the journey was. It did not matter what stood in their way. It did not matter if you were friend or stranger. They would come, and they would save you. And if anyone tried to stop them, they would learn why the galaxy called humans Deathworlders. But in the quiet corners of the galaxy, where decent people lived and worked and raised their families, there was a new saying. When children asked their parents who would help them if they were lost in the dark, the parents would smile and say, "Send an SOS to the Deathworlders, little one. They always come home."